It all began the day baby Tommy took her first wobbly steps, and a giant, misunderstood dog named Ace gently placed his paw beside her. You could feel it in the room. That quiet, invisible bond forming between a child just learning to walk and a rescue dog who had never truly belonged. Nobody expected it. Least of all Amanda, Tommy's mother, who had once questioned whether keeping Ace had been the right decision at all. Ace had come into their lives by chance. A friend of a friend was desperate to rehome him. He had grown too big, too fast, and his first owners no longer wanted him. Amanda wasn't even looking for a dog, especially not one like Ace. He was large, jumpy, and in the early days, unpredictable. With 3 young daughters at home, it was a risk. Their girls, especially the youngest 2, were afraid of him at first. He was nippy, overly energetic, and clearly hadn't been trained with care. For a while, Amanda kept him at a distance from the kids. She wasn't sure they'd ever be able to trust him fully, but something about Ace made her hold on just a little longer. Maybe it was the way he stared out the window quietly when the girls went off to school, or how he would sit beside her when she was rocking Tommy to sleep, never making a sound, just being there. With patience and time, they began working on his behavior. Amanda took the lead, training him daily. Not to jump, not to nip, and most importantly, to be calm when people entered the room. Slowly, Ace began to change. The wild energy started to settle. His eyes softened. And one morning, something shifted between him and the girls. It started with Amanda's oldest, Charlie, who was always the gentle one. She began sitting near Ace during her reading time. He'd quietly walk over and rest his giant head on her lap, just listening. Soon after, Sky, the middle child, saw how safe her sister felt and joined in. She had always been the most energetic, and surprisingly, Ace matched her pace. They would run through the backyard like 2 puppies themselves, laughing and barking, tumbling into the grass. It was chaos, but it was joy. But it was with Tommy, the baby of the family, that Ace formed the deepest bond. They were growing up side by side. She learned how to crawl at the same time he learned to stay calm when she moved toward him. When she took her first steps, he was right there, nervous but protective. He didn't bark. He didn't rush. He simply watched, careful and alert, trying to catch the walker as if he feared she'd fall. And when she did, he'd lie beside her, nudging her gently with his nose, offering nothing but comfort. One morning, when Tommy was battling a cold and had been cranky for hours, Ace did something that melted Amanda's heart completely. He climbed onto the couch, gently lay next to her, and placed his head in her lap. No noise, no movement, just presence. Tommy reached for his ear and started to play with it while he lay still, patiently enduring her little tugs and curious fingers. That moment confirmed it. Ace wasn't just a dog in their home. He was part of the family. Over the months, Amanda watched their connection grow. Ace would steal pacifiers, curl up on Tommy's blanket, and follow her around like a loyal shadow. It was impossible to separate them. Even when the girls were off at school, Ace stayed by Amanda's side with the baby, watching her, mimicking her routines. They were both learning, in their own way, how to be part of the world around them. But Amanda never forgot where Ace came from. He had once been rejected, dismissed, labeled as too much. And now, here he was, gently weaving himself into the lives of 3 little girls, protective, patient, and deeply loving. He had learned what family meant, and in doing so, he reminded Amanda and Josh of something important. Love doesn't always show up the way you expect. Sometimes it arrives in a misunderstood dog with big paws and an even bigger heart. Watching Ace now, it's hard to imagine their home without him. He greets the girls every morning, rests his paws across their laps, and soaks up every cuddle they give. Even Amanda, who had once questioned whether he belonged, now can't imagine life without him. He gave their daughters a sense of responsibility, of empathy. And he gave Tommy a best friend, one who will grow with her, who will celebrate her milestones and comfort her during the hard days. Stories like Ace's are not rare. There are thousands of animals out there waiting for someone to see beyond their size, their fear, or their past. They wait for someone to give them a second chance. A home, a family, a place to belong. And sometimes all it takes is a little bit of patience and a lot of heart. If Ace's story moved you, consider supporting your local animal rescue or adoption center. Donations, fostering, or simply sharing stories like his can make a difference. Because behind every misunderstood dog is the potential for unconditional love. And behind every rescued pet is a family just waiting to be made whole. Ace didn't just find a home. He found his purpose. And he gave one little girl the kind of friendship that will shape her childhood forever.